Oh, man. Shalom, 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 everybody. What up? Shalom. Welcome back to this next episode of Reading with SHILO. What up? I'm SHILO. I'm out here, baby. I'm in this thing. Yeah, we here ready to pick back up in the Medical Apartheid by Miss Harriet A. Washington. The dark history of medical experimentation on Black Americans from colonial times to the present, which has been turning out to be a really good one. At least, very informative in the things that, I'm learning and the things that's being brought to light by her through her investigative journalism. So Miss Washington, we are in part 2 of the book. Part 2, The Usual Suspects. And the first chapter in part 2 of the book is chapter 8, The Black Storks. The Black Storks. So, the eugenic control of African American reproduction. And I'm going to see if what I read is some of this stuff, if I think it's still happening today. Because a lot of things they tell us in these books are a lot of things they try to make us believe is done away with. That's because a lot of people really don't know the real backstory of a lot of these experimentations that happened and were performed. Yeah, that word of mouth is a killer, and that has done a job, but if I had the reports where I could actually read them, or the memoirs, but when reading, that's what that does. It opens you up to new things and new avenues, new doorways that can be opened up if you want to go down that rabbit hole of what the memoirs say. But you better have skin thick enough for whatever way you want to go. Be ready to roll and be ready for some stormy seas. But there's chapters in the book. There's 15 chapters in the book. We're on chapter 8. So I think we're doing pretty good. We're definitely at the halfway point. Butt up, get your ass out the bed if you're in the bed listening to them. And do at least that's something. At least that's something. Something is better than nothing. But maybe that could kick better than nothing. But maybe that could kickstart you to do other things. So whatever, don't bullshit yourself. Don't cheat yourself. Do something that is gonna make you do something. You do your 25 and I'm gonna do my 25, and I'm gonna do a little bit more than 25 because I can't do this right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That's right. Get up, do 25 things, my people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Apartheid. With Miss Harriet, which way are the usual subjects when pertaining to the dynamic, the inferior to superior dynamic? What is the usual subjects? of African American women of African American women are literally having litters of children. Women are literally having litters of children. Barbara Harris, children requiring a caring community, a crack. Something in 1990. National Socialism is nothing but applied biology. Rudolf Hess in Berlin of 1937. She might easily have endured the life of quiet desperation dictated by her birth, then vanished without a ripple. The granddaughter of a slave, the daughter of a sharecropper, and young sister to 19 siblings. She was intelligent, hardworking, and loved to read, but she was also dark-skinned, uneducated, and a woman, a recipe for failure in rural Mississippi. The year was 1961, but it might as well have been 1861. She helped her family eke a hard scrabble existence on a plantation in Sunflower County by picking 300 to 400 pounds of cotton a day for $1 a hundredweight. Pooh. Shambling, garbed, but yes, sir.
Again, fast ball, please.
Boom. That's a good one, my boy. The owner's wife, Vera Alicia Marlowe, was a cousin of the surgeon who had treated Hamer, and Marlowe gossiped to the cook that Hamer had lost more than a tumor while unconscious. The surgeon had people on the plantation to learn that she would never have a family of her own. And I went to the doctor who did that to me. And why had he done that to me? He didn't, and he didn't. If he was going to give that sort of operation, then he should have told me. I would have loved to have children. That time, me getting a white lawyer against a white doctor, I would have been fascinated by political power as a means of most powerful evolution. The was coined by Franklin, a cousin of Charles. Geneticists discovered human traits that heal and kill. Several metabolic conditions were among these. Eugenicists proposed that society use medical information to genetically superior, and the poor and the uneducated, criminals, recent immigrants, blacks, and feeble-minded were eugenic misfits. Eugenicists invoked the term racial hygiene as frequently as they did the word eugenics, and even the cursory glance at the charts, photographs, and diagrams used to polarize eugenics ideals reveals that the unfit were swarthy, black, and ugly by Anglo-Saxon standards, with flattened nose, wiry black hair, and prognosis profiles. African Americans were roundly disparaged by eugenics theory as scientists continued to seek and find wide physiological evidence of black inferiority. In a refinement of early scientific racism, eugenics was appropriated to label black women as sexually indiscriminate and as bad mothers who were constrained by biology to give birth to defective children. The demonization of black parents, particularly mothers, as medically and behaviorally unfit has a long history. But 20th century eugenicists provided the necessary biological underpinnings to scientifically validate these beliefs. And the sexual irresponsibility and the bad mothering were biologically located in the hereditary apparatus. The sexual irresponsibility and the bad mothering were biologically located in the hereditary apparatus, they contended. Thus, eugenics, ungirded, placed the sexual behavior and reproduction of blacks under strict scrutiny and disproportionately forced them into sterility, both temporary and permanent. And scientists also vigorously researched black fertility, compelling data, compiling, compiling data. In 1915, Dr. Harry J. Hazelden, excuse me, Hazelden was both hastened the death tolls of life. Viable of his patient Anna Bollinger to die. On November 12, 1915, he announced in newspapers that he had allowed the ailing but viable newborn of his patient Anna Bollinger to die in Chicago's German American hospital because he would have gone through life as a defective. Between 1915 and 1918, Hazel killed 5 other babies, drawing and practicing negative eugenics were very publicly. Hazel did, not pedestrians, that don't make no sense, and other pediatricians to follow his example by killing or allowing the deaths of the genetically inferior. Parents began openly to recruit doctors to kill their children who were born with birth defects, and doctors came forward with their own proud confessions of infanticide. No, like genocide, but infanticide. 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 Doctors came forward with their own proud confessions of infanticide. Like Kevorkian, Hazelden arranged photo ops with his dying patients and their mothers. In my mind, it's no different from getting the baby yanked out of you. Willingly getting the baby yanked out of you. When he decided to make a film to polarize his eugenic ideals, starring himself, it became a hit, making him a wealthy movie star. And that film was The Black Stork. It begins with the story of a white, wealthy, well-born slave owner who, on the moment of inebriation, is seduced by his vile, filthy black servant. The resulting child supplies a genetic taint to his own family that haunts his progeny, making them unfit to marry. One scene showcases a panoply of defective children, and the very first image of that of a black child. Entitling the film, Hazelden was mindful of both the negative and the racial connotation of the word black. And Martin Pernick, PhD, the premier expert on Hazelden and his work, points out that Hazelden repeatedly equated black with ugliness and undesirability. The fact that her white master, but not she, must be addled by drink before they have sexual congress speaks to the black woman's innate shamelessness. At the film's end, the tainted descendant of the Union is subjected to euthanasia with the approval of the Bora bed Jesus. What is that? A Bora bed. Bora bed. Let's see what that is. What is it? A Bora bed. Barrel bed. Barrel bed. Berobed. Barrel bed. Barrel bed. Berobed. Barrel bed. Berobed. Barrel bed. Bureau bed. Bureau bed. It's nothing here. Shut up. In front of a, with the approval of a barrel bed Jesus, who stands over the cradle. Barrel bed. Damn, man, it's not even in here. Oh well. Tried to. It was a no-go. Keep going. This ham-handed bit of eugenic propaganda buoyed popular sentiment toward eugenics, and soon life began to imitate Hazelden's art, and German doctors became obsessed with regaining the imaginary Nordic purity even before the 1933 rise of Hitler and National Socialism. But U.S. national eugenics policies had employed unconscionable medical violations against those they considered unfit, including blacks, since 1910. And the lines of American and German eugenics were united not only by a shared vision of racial purity, but also by the International Society for Racial Hygiene. Chief among its American members was mathematician and biologist Charles Davenport, PhD, who established the Station for Experiment Evaluation, SEE or C, and in 1910, the privately funded and seminal Eugenic Record Office, the ERO, at Cold Spring Harbor on Long Island, New York, which joined with the SEE or C in 1920 under the aegis of the Carnegie Institution. Man. Davenport was fascinated by biometrics, the quantitative study of evolution, and under him, the ERO conducted research of human heredity by means of numerical mapping human traits, collecting large amounts of eugenic data from scientists and physicians who share their patients' family and medical histories. The ERO also informed popular and legal opinions concerning eugenics, as when Davenport's deputy, Harry Hamilton Laughlin, provided proof essential to the National Origins Act of 1924. It barred immigrants from eugenic science that when Carnegie was era, who was had ever maintained their purity study of the skin color that resulted from black-white matings. Predictably, warm relations reigned between American eugenicists and Germans, who shared Laughlin's abhorrence of black-white mating. And in 1933, Davenport's Eugenical News praised the German race hygiene movement and published abstracts as articles from German eugenics journals such as Archive-Verrasen L. Gesellklassenblögel. Gassell and Laughlin shared detailed information about eugenic sterilization in the United States with Eugene Fisher, director of Berlin's Kaiser Wilhelm Institute for Anthropology, and Meshenklinch, Elderher, and Eugenic Institute Laughlin an honorary producer. Although their cruel acts of genocide were primarily also considered any admixture with people of African descent intolerable. For example, the Rhineland bastard were the offspring born during the 1920s of German women and French Somalian soldiers who were stationed in the Rhineland during the post-World War I occupation. The Reichsbund, which Walter Dyer declared the Rhinelander, I demand sterilization for all mulattoes with whom we were saddled by the black shame on the Rhine. And German hereditary health courts judged the reproductive fitness of poor and ill Gentiles on a case-by-case basis. But for Blacks and Afro-Germans, visual or verbal evidence of African ancestry was enough to justify immediate secret sterilization in on-site clinics under Special Conference Number 3, which was devised by Frankfurt Health Office records from June 19th of 1937 note. The German citizen Joseph Feck, born on 26 September 1920 and residing in Mainz, is a descendant of the former colonial occupation troops, North Africa, and distinctly displays the chorological characteristics. Consents to the sterilization. Ain't that about? Upon demand, Afro-German men had to produce health documents certifying that they had been sterilized. And although the sterilization of at least 385 children is well documented, an entire generation of Afro-Germans was robbed of its fertility. However, Nazi eugenicists frequently observed that their laws to bar Jewish Aryan mating were more liberal than were American laws to separate people of African descent from the white genetic pool. Germans held that a person who was 1/4 Jewish was a German, but parallel marriages and matings between whites and blacks were illegal in much of the United States and, in effect, punishable by death, lynching. The one-drop laws of many southern states counted anyone who had even 1/32 African heritage as black. With any Negro blood at all as black. And editors of German medical journals learned a great deal about medical journals, whose charts precisely detailed which racial mixtures were tolerable in marriages to whites, who was white enough to vote, and so on. And in fact, a cordial rivalry characterized the relationship between German and American eugenicists. The Germans are beating us at our own game, Virginian eugenicist Dr. Joseph S. DeJournette signed in thinly veiled admiration during a 1934 speech in which he urged the Virginia legislation to expand its sterilization laws. However, eugenics innovated more than moral flaws. They were simply illogical. There are several reasons why any experiments in improving health and purifying racial stock by removing certain tainted individuals from populations will fail to root out an unwanted gene, but scientists had known of at least one since 1917. And before the advent of genetic screening tests, one had only classic Mendelian genetics to rely upon, and one could strategies and goals. The Negro Project. Born to a Corning, New York socialist, powerful birth control pioneer, and as a feminist, all these labels fit. Her abundant writings, speeches, and Murad Project and myriad changed over time from women's rights advocacy to eugenics. It has shaped American reproductive policy by toppling the Comstock laws against contraceptive distribution, by catalyzing the development of the birth control pill, and by founding the organization's 12th largest organization. But she did so within alliance with to reduce the fertility of African Americans. Sanger was a cautious speaker. So it is important to examine not only what she said, but what she did. In her 1922 eugenics tome, on the district, which was reported by the police to be the headquarters from the criminal element, family died early and went on to lead lives of hyperfecundity. I don't know what the hell that is. Hyperfecundity. Prostitution, violent crime, or all three. Hyperfecundity. 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 I wonder if it's something that has to do with sexual, something sexual. Hyperfecundity. Hypertension. Hyperfecundity. It's not in here. Let's check the other one. Hyperbola. Hyperfocal distance, hypergamy, hyperfecundity. HYPERFECUNDITY. Hyperfecundity.
Dad, have a couple times, please, say. Have a couple times, please, say.
No, sir. No, sir. I'm almost done, and I'll come cook you something.
Cook me something like a hot one?
Yes, sir.
No.
Yes, sirree.
I was talking about the cool one. I'll pick the hot one.
For sure. Give me a minute. So long. Sonny-o. The Negro District itself, we are told, is the headquarters for the criminal element. So clearly, we are meant to take the black girl's dysfunctional family as representative. While Sanger's early campaigns were aimed primarily at Eastern Europeans, and that year, Lathrop wrote his book, The Rising Tide of Color Against White. Say it again, sir. Yes, sir. As soon as I'm done, I'll make you one. The Rising Tide of Color Against the White World Supremacy. While serving on the board of directors of Sanger's American Birth Control League, the ABCL, and Sanger's lover, Havelock Ellis, reviewed it favorably in her journal Birth Control Review. And that year, she also discarded labels such as good or bad breeding stock in favor and researching birth patterns in Harlem, where 224,760 of New York City's 330,000 African Americans lived. Sanger entitled the June 1932 Birth Control Review the Negro Number, and she recruited black leaders to contribute articles in support of the eugenic cause. The National Association of the Advancement of Colored People's founder, W.E.B. Du Bois, wrote, and Sanger often quoted, "The mass of ignorant Negroes still breed carelessly and dispose, even more than the increase among whites, is from that portion of the population less intelligent and fit, and least able to rear their children properly." Charles S. Johnson, Fisk University's first black president, wrote that eugenic discrimination was necessary for blacks, and a dozen black writers agreed in print. And in January of 1939, Sanger's American Birth Control League merged with the Clinical Research Bureau to form the Birth Control Federation of America, the BCFA. And later that year, Sanger divided the project, which was established for the benefit of the colored people, specifically black women who were being. These first experimental family planning centers sought to find the best way of reducing areas such as Macon County, Alabama. Slaves also suggested approaching black of any sort to get their speakers before church congregations and their arguments in Negro newspapers. Sanger took Du Bois' advice, writing the most successful educational approach to the a religious appeal. And we do not want the word to get out that we want to exterminate the Negro, who can straighten out that idea if it occurs to any of our religious and how they was trying to use it in the churches and stuff. It makes me think of the scripture about how when Pharaoh was trying to get the midwives to kill all the male boys. That eugenics shit going on. She recruited the support of such luminaries as Adam Clayton Powell Jr., as the Abyssinian Baptist Church, and later the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. worker to staff in order to gain patients' trust. I'm not liking how that sounds. All three of them Du Bois, Powell Jr., and King Jr. to work with her. To push this. She recruited the support of Abyssinian Baptist Church and also wanted a black doctor and social worker to staff the clinic in order to gain or tractability. His work, in my opinion, should hospital, social workers, as well as the county's white doctors. His success will depend on his clinic personal eventual protested their lack of autonomy. The BCFA withdrew support and the clinic closed. But Sayers' experiment of addressing Black social ills with the application of negative eugenics via Black birth control clinics was so successful that it persisted, and so was the sexual revolution. And here we go, the beginning of the bullshit. This is the beginning of the bullshit. When they say the beginning of the bullshit, when I say bullshit, I just mean we was already so-called Black men and Black women. We was already kind of growing apart anyway from slavery days, and then from slavery days and trying to grow out of that, we was doing all right, and then we kind of was leveling off again. I think with the way things was looking as far as like Rosewood and Oklahoma, the place in Oklahoma, I can't think of the name of it. They blew it up. The government blew it up. I cannot think of it, man. I cannot think of the name of the place. But I think we're doing better at that time, and then this comes along, and then the divide begins to widen even more. Doesn't want me to read. The pill made available, the birth control pill was developed during an era in which abortion was still legal, but laws prohibiting contraceptive use, distribution of information about contraception was not legalized until 1971. Alley abortions from clinics in central urban areas, project clinics. And clinics had many other contraceptive technology barrier methods that physically white women with intrauterine devices or IUDs. But a history of forcible sterilization fed suspicions that the federally financed birth control clinics in their neighborhoods were attempts to discuss the best way to limit or even to erase the Black presence in America. And a lot of our women are willfully still doing this. They're willfully going along with the genocide. They're willfully being sterilized. Some places they're sterilizing men too, even like in jails. They're sterilizing them to get time off their jails. I remember that was pushing that in the law a while back. I don't know if it went through. Florida NAACP Director Marvin Davies argued that Blacks needed to produce as many babies as possible until Blacks constituted 30 to 35% of Americans. And in 1962, the National Urban League rescinded its support of contraception, and so did many local NAACP chapters. And 28% of the Blacks surveyed in the late 1960s agreed that encouraging Blacks to use birth control is comparable to trying to eliminate this group from society. These genocidal fears were dismissed as paranoia, but prominent white physicians had long advocated a reduction of Black. For example, politically influential physicians Charles S. Bacon, MD, advocated that the Black Belt will be defined by the government as a Negro reservation similar to Indian reservations. The plan that has worked so well in its treatment of the Indian question until it has practically eliminated the question with the race. And we'll stop there. We'll go ahead. I'm coming. Yeah, but we're going to stop there, and we'll pick up next time, part 2 of chapter 8. How many more pages we got? About 7 more pages to go before we finish chapter 8. And that was first part 2. And the first part of chapter 8 of the month on Black Americans from colonial times into the present by Miss Harriet A. Washington, which is turning out to be very informative. Some of the stuff is triggering. I want to bust somebody named mouth. But we did 25 things to start, man. We worked our body, we worked our body, we worked our mind, and now we're gonna work our body again to make sure that we push ourselves and use all that we have to succeed, because we have everything that we need to succeed. So let's do our 25 things, man, so we can go ahead and get the hell out of here. And y'all can finish off y'all day, and I'm gonna go finish off my day and check on my animals, check on my chickens and shit. 25 things, man. 25 lighters on my dresser. Hey, don't cheat yourself. Don't bullshit yourself. Get up and do something. 25 anything. Anything except putting a fork to your mouth. Don't do that. Don't put no food to your mouth. But 25 things. Some up, down, some push-ups, some turn your ass around. Get up your chair. Get in your chair. Get in your out your chair. Get in your chair. 25 things, man. Let's go. 25 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 25. Let's go. Let's get these other ones out of the way. 25. I say 25, but I'm going to do 50. 50 things. I'm going to do 50 things. Y'all come on. Y'all do 25. Get off y'all lazy ass and at least do 25. I'm going to do 50. Y'all do 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. There you go. All right. I did my shit. I hope you did yours. I did. So we'll come back later. Like I said, we'll try to come back on the next episode, whenever that be. I know I was late today, but we'll come back on the next episode of Reading with SHILO, pick up where we left off in chapter 8, and try to finish off chapter 8 and move forward to chapter 9. And keep rowing through the sea of page. Time, one chapter at a time, one paragraph at a time, here a little there. Our life, so we can be better people, better succeed, and be out here. Because I'm out here, baby. In that thing. But, man, until next time, man. SHILO out. Shalom, everybody. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm about to be. Man, I'm about to cut that. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell you people, come listen to SHILO.
Why you put them shots our blood? Oh, those are gloves.
That's my gloves, man. Shalom, everybody.
SHILO out.